Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Wes, the Suburban Viking. Of course, we got Dave here with us, and we are Midgard Axe. But before we get into the video, I want to ask Dave something, since I got him on camera. Dave, what in the world did you give me the night we did the axe ritual on the Berserker Throwing Axe?
And Bane, it stimulates the trance needed for the axe ritual.
Yeah, dude, don't give me that stuff again.
Why not?
Why? He asks why. You know why. We burned down half the shed that night. We pillaged our own house. That's why.
It was you running up and down the street in your underwear. That's on you. My axe rituals are top-notch.
Dave, you gotta stop, man. He's gotta stop. So before we get into the Berserker Axe made by the World Axethrowing League, and I give you guys my final opinion on this thing, how well it flew, how well it held up, the design I put into this Berserker Throwing Axe here, and of course I'm gonna roll in some footage of me throwing this thing. Like always, I'm gonna hand it over to Dave, and he's gonna give you the specs on this throwing axe here.
The Berserker Throwing Axe has a 1045 carbon steel head with a bit length of 4 inches. The handle is American hickory and measures at 17 inches. The entire axe is weighing 2 pounds and 2.5 ounces. However, on our scale, we weighed in at 2 pounds and 0.8 ounces. With a very interesting head design and with the name Berserker, it should smash wood all day long. I would also like to add one more thing. As you can see, I borrowed one of Freya's cats for this video. Look, desperate times call for desperate measures. And I took swift action. So if anyone can get me a new ID, and maybe a passport, that would be great.
So what do you get when you buy the Berserker Throwing Axe by the World Axethrowing League? Comes in a cool box. It's got a picture of the axe on the outside with the name Berserker here with the World Axethrowing League logo. Pretty cool, guys. I do like that the manufacturers take the time to do that with their boxes. You know, adds a little something to the throwing axe that you're getting, which is really cool. You also get a nylon sheath that you always get with all the throwing axes. Pretty decent sheath. It does open and close with Velcro, and you do get a belt loop on the back. Has some nice rivets. It's pretty decent for the money. Comes with the axe. Throw it away, guys. We're talking about the Berserker Axe here, which is really freaking cool. Now, as you guys know, let's just go ahead and start with what it looks like. As you can see here, I did some modifications. Going forward with these World Axethrowing League throwing axes, I'm going to start modifying the handles a little bit to make more of a comfortable throw for me. I get into the axe better when I like how it fits in my hand, so I'm going to do a little bit of modern modification to it before I throw it, which is what I did with the Berserker Axe here. And as you can see, I put an interesting design in it. Kind of goes up here, or it comes down here, goes up, and then comes back down. I like the look of this axe handle. I thought it was pretty cool. As you can see here, this is the way it came. And if I put it in my hand, you can see how thick that handle actually is. But when I move my hand down to where I thinned it, I like my middle finger just barely touching my palm when I close my hand around the axe handle, which is what I got here. Really cool. Put a little bit of Danish oil on it from about here down. I wanted to keep the rune up here at the top, the stave rune, and put a few little burn patterns in it. Just kind of gave it a cool look. And I will say Dave's ritual did work because, guys, this thing held up. We had nothing go on with this handle. So Dave, congratulations, buddy. Your axe ritual worked.
Always doubting me, but I showed your butt again, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did an unboxing on this throwing axe already where I talked about the bind rune that's on the back here that's supposed to be for Berserker. And then I did the stave rune that's right here. If you guys are interested, you can go back and check that out. Like I said before, there's not really anything that we actually know of about a bind rune or a stave rune that actually symbols Berserker. There's no historical evidence for it. Some people say there is. You can do your own research, but as far as I know, there is no actual historical evidence of any type of rune related to the Berserkers, okay? So getting into the actual weight and length of the Berserker Throwing Axe, Dave covered the specs. However, on my scale, this thing came in at 2 pounds and 0.8 ounces, so almost exactly 2 pounds. The length was correct. It came in at exactly 17 inches. So it was a little bit lighter than what they specified, but that's okay. I'm okay with the weight. The actual axe head was pressed onto this handle like they all are, with 2 steel barrel wedges up at the top. And the bit came really sharp. And I will tell you guys, over 2 days of throwing, it's still really sharp. Even though this stave rune right here and this bind rune right here, historically speaking, have nothing to do with the Berserker, I do appreciate that they put it on there. I think it's really cool and I do enjoy it. I'd rather have it than not. Also, too, I really like the head design. Like I said, when I did an unveiling on this thing a couple videos back, this axe head design is really cool, and it did help with weight distribution when I was throwing it. So without further ado, guys, let's get in to talk about how well this thing threw. I think this thing really shines at a single rotation. It has enough weight to smash into the target up close, but it's light enough to be nimble with, which I did. I was able to kind of run around and spin and throw for a single rotation. I was able to do back spinning throws and side spinning throws. And I was also able to stand normally and just kind of toss it for a normal moderate throw and get it to stick into the target. This thing felt really good coming out of the hand. It does have a little bit of heft to it, which is strange because it's only at about 2 pounds. But I will say, I think it has something to do with a lot of the weight being from about here to here. Of course, all the weight's up in the head, of course. But I will say that this thing would probably fly better if you cut the handle down to about 15.5 inches. I think this thing would fly better at 15.5 inches. However, at 17.5 inches, this thing threw exactly how I expected it to throw. It hit really hard in the target. And guys, at single rotation, sometimes when I was throwing this thing, we were sinking all the way to here. So that's crazy to me how far this thing was sinking when I was throwing it really hard, which I do enjoy with a dedicated throwing axe, because when I throw this thing hard, I want this thing to get a lot of penetration, and I got a ton of penetration with the BERSERKER Throwing Axe. The best word to describe how well this thing flew for a single rotation is clean. It just felt really clean, no matter how I threw it, no matter if I was running around, if I was standing still, if I was releasing it different ways. It just felt really good in the hand, and it just felt clean out of the hand. So for single rotations, I don't think you'd have any issues with this. It stuck really good. It felt really good out of the hand. I had no really wobble at all at a single rotation. Just a great throwing axe for single rotation. Felt really good. Double rotations were about exactly the same. I did some stationary power throws with it, and it hit really hard. It felt really good out of the hand. It felt about the same as it did at a single rotation. I was able to move around with it really nice, doing some of my running throws and releasing it while I'm still moving. And of course, guys, I did some throws where I set up with my back to the target, spun around and throw. I was very accurate with it at a double rotation as well. I really didn't feel the accuracy change at a double rotation. It just felt really good out of the hand. And it felt like when I was throwing it, I wasn't getting any wobble at a double rotation. I'd have to go back in editing, but I don't feel like I was getting any wobble. It felt true in the air, and the weight was no problem at a double rotation. So I will say singles and doubles with this thing are incredible. You can run around, go from a double, go to a single. It feels almost exactly the same. And it also hits hard as hell at a double rotation. So if you're looking for something a little bit more nimble, but has some weight that you can do some competition throws with, but you can also take back to a double rotation and it performs just as well back there, the BERSERKER is your throwing axe. Getting back to triple rotations, this thing did okay. It wasn't the best at a triple rotation, but it wasn't terrible either. I did start to get some wobble at a triple rotation, but it was a controlled wobble, like I like to say. Some axes I've thrown before are controllable at triples and doubles, and some are not. Some are good at a single and double. When you get back to a triple, they're not controllable. This one has wobble at a triple rotation, but like I always say, it's controllable. So if you wanted to step back for triple rotations and be accurate with it with a little bit of wobble, you can do it with the BERSERKER. It worked really well for me at triple rotations. Would I continue to throw it at triple rotations? Yes, I would, because I think it's something that I personally can overcome. I think with practice, I could probably get the wobble out of it. Just getting used to it. You know, I've only got 2 days worth of throwing with it, but if I really spent time with the BERSERKER, I think I could get the wobble out at a triple rotation, because I think some of the wobble has something to do with me and the way that I throw, which is always possible. But triple rotations, I was really accurate as well. I was trying to throw around the target as best I could and try to get around left side, right side, bottom, top, and then the middle. That's what I like doing for distance because it hones in my accuracy really well. I was able to do it for a triple rotation, but I did see while it was flying in the air, I had a little bit of wobble, but it is controlled. So like I said, single, double, triple rotations, this thing is just a beast. It's very well rounded. If you wanted to be really accurate with it and you didn't want wobble, then maybe I'd stay at a single and a double. One thing that I will say about the Berserker, and it kind of reminded me of something that I wanted to tell you guys that I forgot about, which is let the axe work for you. You don't always have to overdo it. Like they say when you're using an axe for chopping and splitting, you want to let the axe work. Use the tool correctly. Let it do its job. You don't need to overdo it and put too much force into it when you're striking your axe, when you're splitting or chopping. Same thing goes with a throwing axe, guys, especially for distance. I noticed when I took this thing back for triples, I was getting a lot of wobble because I was forcing the axe to do what I wanted it to do. And I kind of had to take a step back and go, Wes, let the axe work for you. And that's something that I tell myself sometimes when I'm throwing for distance. I tend to put a little bit too much oomph behind my throw sometimes, and I'm trying to get the axe, I'm working the axe too hard. And I know that throwing an axe and chopping and splitting are all different, but there are some similarities. And throwing an axe can be the same way with chopping and splitting. Let your axe do the work. And that was one thing I wanted to say about the Berserker axe, is that I tended to want to put too much into it at a triple rotation, and that's on me. And I kind of had to take a step back and go, Wes, let the axe do its job. And once I figured that out, I was able to consistently throw this thing for a triple rotation. Pretty cool. Anything you'd like to add, Dave, on the Berserker Throwing Axe?
I'm just glad we didn't have to throw that competition throwing axe again. I gave it to Loki. You should see that idiot throwing it. I hope he throws his arm out.
Yeah. Berserker Throwing Axe, guys. I don't think you can go wrong with it. It is a great throwing axe. I had a great time throwing it for single, doubles, and triples. Felt really good out of the hand. Overall, I think it's a great, versatile throwing axe. You can do all kinds of different things with it. Has enough heft to smash into the target, but it's light enough to be nimble with, which is two things that I always look for in a versatile throwing axe. Can I throw it and make it smash, but can I also be quick and nimble with it? And I was able to do both. And that's what I'm always looking for in a throwing axe. Weight distribution on the head is great. They did a really good job designing this throwing axe for single, doubles, and triples. Like I said, triple rotations, it wobbles a little bit, but I think that's really on me. I need to work on that with this. But overall, great throwing axe. I think you should get one, guys. At least get one and try it out. See if it works for you. And like I said before, guys, the axe head is great. The tempering, still really sharp. It's still really sharp. I did put my own edge on it. I forgot to say that. I put my own edge on it. I threw it the way it came, and I decided, hey, I'm going to put my own edge on it and see what happens. When I put my own edge on it, guys, it's even sharper, and it stayed even sharper. The World Axe Throwing League Berserker Throwing Axe brought exactly what I wanted it to bring. A well-rounded, versatile throwing axe, and that's exactly what I got with this thing. Nothing else I can say. Great flying axe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the intro. Me and Dave put a lot of time and effort into the intro to this thing. We had a really good time making it. We planned it out a little bit. Of course, he enjoyed his axe ritual like he always does, right, Dave?
You know I'm always down for some craziness.
Yeah. So, thanks for everybody. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for doing everything you guys do, watching the videos, liking, commenting. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. I really do appreciate it. The Berserker Throwing Axe, what a great flyer. Get one if you don't have one. Play around with this axe head. Put it on a new handle if you want. I think it would do you well. We're out of here, guys. But until next time, see ya. Let's go, Dave. Time to go eat. I'm starving.
One last thing. We are adding something special to the channel this year. We think you will really enjoy it. If not, then it's Loki's fault. That guy's a weirdo.